The following program is a production of Yawawa Media in Niagara Falls, New York. The opinions expressed in the following show are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Yawawa Media or of our sponsors.
Well, hello, everybody. We're back, Citizens United. It's episode 15, and I'm your host, John Restaino. And, we're back again for another, thank God, Yawawa has let us continue. So we're at episode 15, and my co-producer, Robin, she'll be on shortly as she's doing her co-producing stuff. But our co-host, Lisa Dorato. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing fabulous, John. How are you?
I'm good. How was your weekend?
Epic.
Yeah, you're Ellicottville, right?
Oh, yeah, Ellicottville. It was good times.
Yeah.
All fest without the vendors, but everybody showed up anyways.
Yeah, a lot of karaoke.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty good.
We sang some karaoke. That's why my voice is a little rugged this time.
Right. Well, what we're going to do here, we have a guest, but we're not going to meet the guest until after we're going to have a word from our sponsors. And sit back, and we'll be back in a moment.
Poverty, mental illness, abandonment, and neglect hits the hardest in any city. Not just a city of wonders. In Niagara Falls, New York, you don't have to walk alone. All it takes is one person, one hand reaching and giving hope. Reach out your hand and help provide that hope through the Help Center. When we give to our vulnerable, our lost and broken, we help build a better city. Consider giving to Valerie Smith's The Help Center, 324 Pine Avenue in Niagara Falls, New York. Telephone 716-285-1677. Thank you.
And that was Valerie Smith's Help Center. Now, if one thing Valerie did remind me of the other day was, and it was on the commercial too, Christmas is coming, and if you're in need of anything, get a hold of Valerie Smith, the Help Center. She'll help you whatever you need. Christmas time's coming, and they are there to help you. So
she helps with gifts, with winter coats, anything you could possibly think of that you might need at this time of year.
Yeah, we need more people like Val in our city. We really do. Yeah.
I have some stuff I could bring to her.
Oh, she'll love it.
Nobody else has been taking things in.
Right.
I've called quite a few. Caroline's house, nobody's accepting anything at this point.
Yeah, Val will take it.
She will,
the Help Center.
That's fantastic.
All right. Now, I want to introduce our guest, and I'm really happy that he's here with us today, and it's Sean Levick. Hey, Sean.
Hey, John. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Busy day.
Ravens hat?
Yeah, of course. Better than a Bears hat, I guess.
Well, what are you guys, 4-1?
4-1, yeah.
Oh, just like us.
Yeah.
All right.
Just like the Bills now, too.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Good for them. All right. But anyways, Sean, let's get to know you a little bit, especially for people that might not know who you are, but a lot of people know you. Sean, you've been in Niagara Falls your whole life or no?
I was born and raised in Niagara Falls. I moved when I was 20 to North Carolina to the mountains, and I moved back here about 2010.
Oh, nice. All right. You got kids?
Yep, 6 of them, 6 children.
6
4
children.
boys, 2 girls.
And you got one, I heard, going to RIT?
Yep.
Is that
right?
right?
Anthony just went to RIT this year. He left actually before schools even open up, June, maybe.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
It's a great school.
He did a great job. He worked his butt off to get there. I can't take any credit for what he did.
Oh, you definitely should.
Yeah. You got,
Yeah.
Him and his mom did it.
No, that's great. Outstanding, man. So Sean, let's get into some things. I know you have a lot of you want to make the city better. I know. We just like I said, we need more Val Smiths, which I believe we do. Sean, I don't mean to embarrass you, but we need more guys like you. And so let's talk about it a little bit here. Before I get into any of my topics, you kind of have a little bit of a, we'll call it a plan, but maybe not a plan. But explain it to me and the people here.
Over the last couple of years, I've been following a guy named Cormac Russell, and he is the founder of Nurture Development, which is an asset-based community development. It's a foundation that teaches people, it empowers people to take control of their own quality of life and make it better themselves, rather than relying on institute-based development like we have here with CDBGs and the government. Instead of saying, hey, we need you to do your job, do this, it's everybody's job to make their quality of life better for themselves and for the children around them.
Right.
So I think that we need more people to be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, I know. Like we were talking on the way up, and I'm sure Lisa will agree with this. Robin, I'm sure you will too. You got to get off Facebook, and I mean it's okay. Social media is good, but then after you kind of got to go to the next level of whatever it is, whatever your problem is, you got to go to the next level besides just tweeting it or something.
Well, the biggest problem that I see that we have is people will sit there and say vote, 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 and then they'll leave their accountability responsibilities at the poll, saying, oh, well, I voted this guy in. He's going to do what he's supposed to do, and that's what I want him to do. But it doesn't always work like that. You have to be in a city setting. Like local politics is a business. It's not, It's not politics. It shouldn't be politics. Then things don't get done. People point the fingers at the Democrats or Republicans. It's individuals that mess up, and those people need to be held accountable.
Yeah.
So I think that the people that ultimately need to be held accountable are the people that are voting and saying, okay, I've done my part.
Yeah.
You have to look at yourself and say, did I go out and do what I said I wanted this person to do myself? Because you can't expect somebody else to do something if you're not doing it yourself.
I just have to interject a quick little comment here. Our daughter, Dominique, she watches every week. She's very impressed that you wore a tie to the show, Sean.
I wear a tie to go shopping on Instagram. My family, it really bothers my family how much I wear ties and dress up shirts.
She said you look very professional.
Thank you very much.
All
Appreciate
right. Well,
that.
Dominique will be here next week.
Yep, she'll be here to watch the show.
the show, yeah. All right. So you're saying, and Lisa, jump in whenever you want. You're right. I mean, because the voter becomes an accomplice. You know what I mean? The voter becomes. I mean, I always felt bad for the voter here. And does someone have their phone? I'm hearing that feedback.
I'm hearing it too.
No? Okay. Make sure everything. Yeah, all right. Anyways, if the vote, I always felt bad for the voter, but now I've stopped. Like they're almost like an accomplice to this, to the nonsense that goes on. Because if you like you say, it's a business, and I'll agree with that to an extent where in business they don't take forever. We don't reward failures in business.
No.
And
No, you fire them and
right.
replace.
And we've had just a lot of failures, whether they're the individuals, the parties, and both parties fail. Big time failures.
Yeah. And then the parties back them, or they distance themselves from it, which makes it even worse, because then you just look like you're being hypocritical and not having any accountability for your own actions, leaving it on that person when it could have been you that told that person to do that.
What do you think about the two parties, Sean? Do you think we need something beyond a two-party system?
I think that we do, and I think that the problem is a lot of people are afraid to vote third party. When in a lot of ways, third parties are the more reasonable of the parties. It's just they don't have the money, they don't have the backing. You don't see a lot of people in Senate running around saying that they're part of the Green Party or, the smarter ones anyways. You got a bunch of smart people.
Yeah.
You also got a bunch of dumb smart people.
That's true.
In government. That make things sound really nice, make themselves sound better. They're articulated, and it goes above everybody else that they're really not that smart. Common sense problems aren't always so cut and dry. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. So if we have a problem with government, maybe it's time to start thinking outside the box on some of these other independent groups, and rather than saying, oh, well, we could trust the Republicans, we could trust the Democrats. No, they've been in power since the country's been, since
Right.
they've been coined by the newspapers in the early 1800s, and they've consistently failed. So in order to think outside the box or get problems for outside the box, maybe sometimes we have to go outside the box,
Yeah, definitely. Lisa, what do you think?
Well, actually, you and I discussed this yesterday when we were having our conversation about what I had thought about possibly somebody coming in to start a new party.
Right.
And I absolutely believe we do need another party. As far as I'm concerned, the Democratic Party has completely been hijacked, and it doesn't even resemble anything that I once knew growing up. So I say yes, we need some new, fresh parties.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely
I
do.
agree.
know?
John and I left the Democratic Party,
Yeah.
or should we say the Democratic Party left us,
Yeah.
as Reagan would say. But for that very reason, I mean, it's just not even recognizable anymore. And I think we do need fresh ideas and fresh people.
Yes.
Val Smith said on Facebook, great point, different faces but the same people. And that's what we run into when we keep going to
Well,
the same.
Yeah, and that's why, I keep saying this, and we're going to stick to the city, but I just got to say this, and I say it probably every week. That's why President Trump was so, to people, people were kind of going towards him because even Obama voters, they were
Yeah.
going towards him because it was just, even though we knew who he was
He's not
since
a
the 80s.
politician. He's not a politician.
But then you look at and that's what I don't think the Democrats understand here yet. The people are kind of tired of it, so they're tired of them being like if you put I said this, I think, Lisa, to you guys, if you put you could make them like NASCARs. If you put the patches of who owns them on their jackets,
Yeah.
so they're gonna.
I like
yeah,
that,
they're gonna
John.
work
That's
for
great.
them. They will work for them. So, all right, I just don't know why no one has in that party. I mean, they did the complete opposite. They went with the most, establishment. I mean, Jesus, you wouldn't have enough room to put the patches on his jacket.
Right.
So,
Hey, John, so Tony D is watching. He says, hello, Bobby Smandella. He says, okay, we got his attention. Mary Claire's with us. Hi, Mary Claire.
oh, hey, MC.
MC. Kenny Tompkins. Hi, Lisa Dorato. Hi, Ken Tompkins.
Well,
Hi, Deanna Giambattista.
yeah.
You can call in.
Yeah, that's right.
Dina, I promise that I won't yell at you. I'll let you say what you want.
716-804-1229 is the number. The only thing is when you call in, give me a second to say you're on the air. And if you could, if we remember, I'll try to ask you too, your name and maybe where you're calling from if you're outside of the air or whatever. Just tell us where you're calling from and your name. But I'll ask if I can remember. All right. So, Sean, let's get back to the city. What are your thoughts? Because we've had, I saw you at the Peace-a-thon. You were there. You were the first one to donate that night. And crime has gone wild. I mean, this is the worst it's ever been. Obviously, the homicide rate is crazy, as we're number 6 in the country, tied with Birmingham, Alabama. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts, man? What has happened to change everything?
I grew up on 20th Street.
Yeah.
I grew up right there in the middle of where everything happens now, for the most part. So it's, to me, I'm kind of used to it in a way, but what I'm not used to is the contentment that everybody else has about it. Everybody else says, "Oh, it happens all the time. It's Niagara Falls. What do you expect?" It's not what anybody expects in their life anywhere.
Right.
Maybe it's because I'm getting older that I realize we're lacking some serious stuff that could make these issues go away. Places to go to, or trade schools, better education, community centers. But at the same time, we don't really deserve a community center, in my mind anyways.
You made a statement there, Sean, that really kind of jumped out at me. You said, I've been living, I'm used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this what we really need to get used to?
No, and
I would hope not, especially you have children,
mm-hmm.
and I definitely feel that it's gotten so out of control that I would be deathly afraid.
like you pointed out earlier,
I grew up down here.
I walk my son to Abbott.
Yeah.
Literally every day I walk my son
Every
to
day,
Abbott.
I heard.
I went to Abbott when I was a kid.
Me too.
I don't remember seeing homeless people sleeping in the park.
No,
You
we
know?
didn't have that.
And then when
No.
I tried to address that issue with gospel rescue missions, it was outside our gates. There's nothing we could do about it.
Right.
Okay, I understand it's outside your gates, but as a person that's supposed to be helping other people, you shouldn't have a gate.
Right,
You
exactly.
know, and to me, it normalizes that action to
Yeah.
children. You know,
Right.
they see it and they're like, oh,
It's
there's
normal.
somebody sleeping there. 2 years
normal.
later, they're so used to somebody sleeping there.
Yeah, it's desensitization.
And I think that a lot of ways, the trash, even
Yeah.
kids see trash all the time, and it becomes a normal everyday thing to them. It shouldn't be a normal everyday thing.
No, it's not.
And it's sad. I hear so many people say, you know, I have children of school age and we're just going to have to move out of the city. I hear so many people just giving up on Niagara Falls because it seems like it won't change.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that option. There's a lot of good people who are here who, you know, have family ties that keep them here or financial things that keep them here. And they have to raise their kids here, and we've got to help them have a better place to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing I'll say that I always think. And, you know, when I look at City Hall and I look at things there, and this includes council, both things, and the City Hall, you know, the mayor's office, there's probably only one guy that you'd have a shot with that might understand anymore what it's like, you know, and that's probably Tompkins. But, I mean, really, when you look at the bunch of them, they are so out of touch with what happens on 20th Street or so out of touch with what would happen right where we're at, you know, around the corner here. They have no clue. I mean, they're really in a bubble.
Well, they're out. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
If they don't drive through these things every day, they don't see them. They can't identify problems. Even if they did drive through them areas, it wouldn't be something that they've seen that they can identify as a problem.
Right.
You know,
Vale's Valentine. We all need to work together. Too many people here want separation. Barb Bullen, the church should not be the building. It's supposed to be the people.
And then Paul Morano, when the community is unsafe, you do not want to be there.
I live in a community that's unsafe.
Yeah.
I live right there on 7th Street, across the street from City Hall.
Right.
And when something pops off over there, you constantly hear chirping coming from DeVoe or Lacelle about how bad it is down here.
Right.
I literally walk down my street every other week to pick up trash every time the trash comes. Wow. Everybody in my neighborhood knows me, and there's a reason why, because I go up to them and I introduce myself to them. That's how you build a strong community, by being together. The whole definition of community is a group of people that live in the same place that have the same goals. You know, and people toss community around now like they toss around the word love.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not something that you could just toss around. You know, we got a lot of words that are being tossed around that used to have serious meanings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're just being used as cliche hashtags or catchphrases, you know.
Right. You know, I saw something interesting on Facebook earlier, and I don't recall who said this, but somebody was talking about the problem of garbage collection and then there being a lot of trash left over and so forth. And somebody responded to them and said, you know, I buy the garbage men lunch 4 times a year, and they know I appreciate them and what they do. And they said my driveway is always clean as could be. And it's just a matter of showing some appreciation to people for the hard work that they're doing. I mean, maybe everybody can't do that, but you go out and, you know,
Say thank you.
Yeah, say thank you.
need
Shake
to
the hand of the people who are delivering your mail or picking up your trash, doing the, you know,
Yeah,
the things that make your life more comfortable.
Unfortunately, those things, though, are done. I mean, because my parents might have done that, your
My
parents.
parents did it,
But
yeah.
everyone's too busy. We can't even go to a restaurant and eat. I mean, everyone wants to just take off. Like, everyone's really busy to do something, but they really got nowhere to go.
Right.
A lot of people also get this mentality that, and it's the worst thing I've ever had anybody say to me, and it absolutely infuriates me, is not my job.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that. You
Yeah.
know, like, it is your job. If you can get on Facebook and complain about the trash men not picking up all the trash, you just spent the time that you were complaining about by picking up the trash.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and it shouldn't be, it's not my job to pick up the trash. because it is your job to make sure that your quality of life standards are what you set them at.
Yep.
Right.
If you want somebody else to set your quality of life standards, then by all means, complain all day.
And I think that this is a big problem that also has occurred in the city. Jennifer Blythe Nichols. This is why I moved from the city to the town, and then from there to Lockport. Niagara Falls has become scary. And I mean, when we don't have any taxpayers paying taxes,
No, and
things are gonna go awry. And it's really up to the people that live in the community to really take the responsibility of cleaning up their areas and or helping one another. If you have an elderly, neighbor, help them out.
I have plenty of
help
them.
them
Yeah.
out.
You almost got to,
You
because those are the
have
same
to.
people that took care of us when we were younger.
Absolutely.
Even if it was just teaching us lessons or talking to us.
Absolutely.
And we have to give that same. The biggest problem that I see is that we have a generational gap. In my age range, 35 to 45, 30 to 45, whatever. Didn't get the lessons from the older generation to pass on, or they just didn't care about the lessons that they got. And they were just like, hey, everything's handed to me, so I'm just not going to.
Yeah, I
Well,
really
yeah.
kind of feel that generation has suffered due to the fact that, both parents are like scurrying to work, so they really weren't getting the lessons.
Yeah, I mean, in a two-parent household, both parents work, and you have to work like that to be able to live regularly, or at least comfortably. Check by
exactly.
check, if you
Yeah,
can.
it's a lot of people.
But at the same time, I also feel like people in a certain age group are babies raising babies. And if they don't know the things that they need to know to teach somebody else, it's kind of hard to say, well, these young kids are out here doing this, and their parents should have been better parents.
Right.
Who's to
Right.
say that they were even taught what they needed to do to be functioning?
Do we know if there are groups that actually help these young mothers? I know that there is a few youth single mother homes
Right.
in the city that take them in, but are they giving them like guidance as far as parenting guidance? Do you
That's
know
something
that?
I'll look into that over the course of the next week and try to find an answer for next week's show.
Yeah, I'd like to know that,
Yeah.
because honestly, it really is a huge problem when you have babies having babies that had no guidance from their parents. This is what we're gonna get.
Yep.
This is what's gonna happen.
We've got a great comment from Tara Truesdale Massaro. She said, I agree. You have to participate in making your community better if you want results. However, you cannot deny Niagara Falls is one of the most dangerous cities in New York State. The crime rate per capita is a disgrace.
Well,
yeah.
we only see that because we live here and we're so focused on Niagara Falls. But I'm sure if you go to other places, Chicago, they're saying the same thing. Miami's saying the same thing. Charlotte's saying the same thing. Buffalo, which is right next to us, is saying the same thing. And we focus on our issues because that's what we get to see is our issues. More so with social media, forcing it in our face all the time. I used to help admin on the Action page, so I know all the crime that goes on in the city, usually before it even went up on the page.
Right.
So that stream that's coming into us is constant negative.
Well,
That's all we know.
I got something that happened the other day that might help. We got a grant of $2.3 million from the U.S. Department of Justice, and it'll cover the next 3 years for 8 police officers.
4 years.
Is it 4?
Goes into the fourth year.
Goes in the 4th year. Okay. The city will take over the cost after that. What do you think? I'm concerned.
I remember talking about this before the mayor got elected. I was talking. I can't remember. I think Kenny was in the comments on it too, about going out and looking for police officer grants. Now my thing is if you apply for the grant, you should be already preemptively planning how to pay for that grant when it runs out.
Right.
If you can't, then there's no sense applying for the grant, because then you're just going to be back at stage one, and you're going to have to fire people. And that's not fair to them to be in a position for 3 years comfortably, and then because you didn't plan ahead,
I don't get it. I understand. Then people tell me, political people, big time political people, guys that are running parties are saying, it's nothing. It's only it's a small job, 42,000. Why are you even? What's the big concern? I don't know, man. If I'm broke, I'm not looking to spend.
Yeah.
If I get 10, I'm not looking to throw that 10 back out.
And couldn't that fund another year for one of those police officers? I mean, couldn't that be the start of a solution to, if we're going to apply for this grant, okay, well, here's year 4 for police officer number 1.
They could have definitely fixed some taillights in their cars.
Yeah.
And it's certainly could have, I don't know. There's so much. I got to tell you the truth. And then we're going to take a break here in about a second. For our sponsors. But, when you look at all that's gone on here, I know that they're pointing behind them, but I think the finger's got to be pointing at them because right now it doesn't look much different than the Deister stuff because we're just spending and we're I don't know what's happening.
The Democrats been eating their young forever.
Yeah.
Okay, they really have truly been eating their young. They break the piggy bank every single time. Every single time.
And you know what's
Never fails.
And you know what's sad? The Republicans that are on the council don't care. They
Yeah.
agree with them.
And
Well, talking about a Republican on the council, Kenny Tompkins actually chimed in and says there is the Center for Young Mothers. It is attached to the school district. He says he does believe it's still at 24th Street School Building.
Oh, nice.
So thank you for that information, Kenny Tompkins.
All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a break for our sponsors, and we'll be back. Let's see, we'll be back in a moment.
Poverty, mental illness, abandonment, and neglect hits the hardest in any city. Not just a city